Hi, my name is Mason Andrews, and on the screen is my selection, or Kai paper selection, as well as a re-recording because I lost my original recording. Clap it up. Anyway, the title is A Qualitative Study of Adoption Barriers and Challenges for Passwordless Authentication in German Public Administrations. What does that even mean? Sounds very fancy. Well, essentially, in plain English, it's why German government employees still rely on passwords even though arguably better options exist. So, not to really go through the article, I'm not going to. More so show results. And I will simply stop randomly at this nice table. Which shows protection against attacks in dealing with either passwords and the types of attack methods. So this summarizes the security claims of the authentication methods versus common security vectors for authentication. So essentially comparing passwords versus FIDO2 and how they handle certain attacks, cyber attacks. And the problem is that public agencies handle tax returns and health records, which hackers love. They love that kind of information because it can give them profit or access and control. So, despite this, phishing rates in government are roughly twice those in the private sector. So, passkeys specifically, such as FIDO2, which stands for Fast Identity Online 2, can stop those attacks dead in their tracks. So, what's our holdup? Well, researchers ran 2 phases. There was a survey, where's the survey, the questionnaire, the results? Okay, there was tons of surveys done here. Now that I'm really digging into meat and potatoes of this article. But even right here, it says the key findings that most commonly 12% mention exposure to TOTP-based methods, which means time-based one-time passwords. So without authentication methods, let me just search here because that's really what I'm looking for. 35% of the participants of the survey reported to have used passwordless authentication at work. So most participants use authenticator apps. And so our field test was the second phase, and 11 volunteers spent 2 weeks logging into a live CMS, which is a content management system using FIDO2 keys and TOTP. And there was no lab or mock-ups. It was their actual work. They were logging in, doing their bureaucratic due diligence. And as a result, from this, it's a really long paper, man. And this is really what I could gather, because this is quite advanced. I'm not going to lie. But into what the good news was that people really loved and enjoyed using FIDO2. Those that tested, they stated that it was fast, it was reassuring, and it was even kind of fun. The bad news, however, sits with the following points, which there is one, a USB device ban. So there's, especially in government, there's security rules that blacklist anything that plugs into a USB, including passkeys. So that automatically cuts out this method. 2, there's a decentralized procurement. So each agency would have to buy their own gear So that requires a lot of paperwork and receipts. And it could be done, but government tends to move slowly. So transitioning to a system where everyone since the dawn of the internet age has used passwords to access various accounts, you're introducing a new method of login, but that comes with its whole can of worms. Well, more so its own can of worms, not a whole can of worms. And that could take a lot of time, and the momentum of this exciting new FIDO2 passwordless option would just die right there due to that. There's also problem number 3, which there's minimal IT training in the government. Other than, and I'm not too familiar with the German government, nor our own government for that matter, but I imagine that every single employee that works there, they're not giving them hands-on tech training. It's bare minimum, and they'll likely have to call a help desk. And when you have minimal help desks, which there usually are, for hundreds of users, there's almost virtually no way to really show every single staff member how to use this new method of login. So it matters because this actually flips our typical human computer interaction mindset, where the barrier isn't exactly the user interface, but it's policy and process. Because the interface that we're looking at here is actually reported being very secure, as it says right here, secure but unorthodox. It's fun, it's exciting, it's interesting, introduces a little bit of excitement to the workflow, typical government workflow, whatever that is. I could not tell you. But it's, as I stated before, all of these policy and processes that are there that stonewall us from having cool new advanced tech. And plus, anything that has to plug in through USB is a pain point regardless. So my takeaways from this was that great design dies on bad policy. We have to look at the rules of whatever agency or governing body or corporation that we're operating under, and not just exactly what's perceived on screen with these various system interactions. Number 2, there's a large rollout that needs internal innovators, so to speak, that would cut through all of this bureaucracy and red tape. And that really takes forward thinking people, and oftentimes that is not found in business, in my personal opinion, corporation, government, in my personal opinion, only because people have a specific way of doing things and going about things, and when you try to introduce change into these environments, that will stall the flow of production, whatever that is. Business leaders are less likely to go for it. And then number 3, security professionals must speak both code and compliance, meaning you have to convince managers to tweak regulations while at the same time refining the user experience. So our bottom line is that passkeys are production ready, bureaucracies aren't yet. They're behind the times. But are they really? Because even though their flow of production could be increased, it takes time to do that, which causes stalling. So we essentially have to figure out how to bridge the gap in usable security. So thanks for listening. That is my video presentation. I didn't make a presentation. Signing out.